As noted earlier on this YouTube channel, CM Punk has been terminated by AEW for cause. A statement was put out earlier this afternoon, and Tony Khan said that he was the one that made the decision after an internal investigation. As noted earlier, there were cameras. Despite the multiple stories being told and the multiple versions being told, there were stories told from Punk's camp about what happened. There were stories told from Jack Perry's camp, and then there was also a neutral party that was a witness to all of this. So since there are people wondering what was the truth, what happened exactly, Dave Meltzer put out a tweet that basically said that basically all you have to do is look at the story from the neutral party, and that basically pinpoints, clears up everything, what exactly seems to have happened. And again, there were cameras there, so it's not really tough to figure out for AEW legal side to figure out who was at fault for what happened last Sunday at All In. I'll just recap some of what was written in the Observer. Nick Hausman from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, f4wonline.com. Dave Meltzer wrote that Nick Hausman essentially presented the Punk side of the story. He said that Punk was in Gorilla since his match with Joe was next. He said Perry walked past him and Punk asked Perry if he had something to say. The conversation escalated. The version from either Punk or someone close to him said that Perry asked Punk to do something about it. The version was that Punk shoved Perry and Punk shoved Perry and then Perry shoved back. Punk then grabbed Perry in a choke, and this was reported as a guillotine by others, a guillotine choke, with the idea of just holding him there to defuse the situation because he didn't want to fight with Perry. And from Punk's side, there were no punches thrown. Supposedly, from Punk's side, Punk asked security if it would be better if he left the building and was told that nobody was going to ask him to leave, but it might be better that if he did. So Punk agreed and left on his own. And the version that Jack Perry told people is that he was leaving after losing his match, and then he got backstage. Punk came up to him with a lot of people around and said, quote, "Do we have a problem?" Perry said no. Perry then said to Punk that he said stuff that got online about him, and that that line, Crimea River, that was a receipt, basically. That was why he said the line, because Perry felt that Punk put stuff out that got online about him from weeks earlier from their previous incident. The version that Jack Perry apparently said included that Punk then said the words to the effect of, "You know, I can F you up at any time, right?" That version was that the Perry version was that that Punk pie-faced Perry and then tried to put a guillotine on him, and then also threw some punches that were awkward from the position Punk was not doing any damage. And then Perry grabbed Punk's arm and tried to keep him from locking in the guillotine move. Samoa Joe came in and quickly broke it up. Perry didn't have a bruise or a scratch on him past those that he got from his match. And there's also a story about Brody King, that he punched the wall, but that was later denied. And then later came out that Brody King kicked a trash can, apparently out of frustration. Brody King was a friend of Punk. There was also reports about Punk screaming at Tony Khan and swearing at him. Again, Jim Ross noted that he was planned for a major entrance at the show, and because of what was going on backstage, which happened right before he was supposed to go out, he was told to just go out to ringside in a low-key manner. They did briefly play his music, got the pop, and he waved to the crowd. Another version, and this is the key one that Dave Meltzer is talking about on Twitter, from the neutral source, was this was not a wrestler, but there's someone who was there and witnessed what happened. And this person's version was that right after Perry came to the back after his match with Hook, Punk went nose to nose with Perry aggressively and asked him if he had a problem. That person, the neutral source, said Perry told Punk that he was just looking to get heat as a heel. The neutral source said that Punk shoved Perry hard. Perry then got in his face, and then Punk sucker punched him and then went for the choke. People immediately broke it up, and Khan was yelling at Punk to let him go. So in this, the neutral source says that Tony Khan was there yelling at Punk to let Jack Perry go, and then after that, after they separated, the neutral source says that Punk lunged in Khan's direction, but a number of people got in the way while Punk was saying, "I quit." Monitors were knocked down during all of this, and Joe was very upset and went to calm down Punk. So if you noticed during the match or after the match happened, after Punk and Joe had their match and Punk's music was playing, you noticed Punk was waving. So apparently at that point, and at least at that moment, Punk had it in his mind that he was done with the company. So again, hopefully that clears some stuff up, because I see some people online saying, asking about, wait a minute, didn't Jack Perry initiate the fight? Didn't blah, 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 blah. Well, according to the neutral source, that's not the case. So again, Punk has been let go by AEW with cause. That could mean that we don't know, there's a non-compete. Usually when you get fired, there's a non-compete, or there is no non-compete. So it's possible that he may be able to wrestle elsewhere. Would WWE sign him? We don't know. Again, everybody knows that there was bad blood with Punk and WWE years ago. However, Punk did go to backstage at Raw a couple months back and made amends with certain people such as Triple H and The Miz and others. So perhaps the door's open. We'll see. Again, tell us what you think. Do you think Punk would be welcome back in WWE? Should WWE sign him? Would you be excited to see Punk in WWE again? Would obviously be a huge pop and it'd be big business for WWE most likely. But there's also the possibility of issues behind the scenes. So who knows? Thanks again. We'll have more news on our website, wrestlingnews.co. For more news updates and interviews and more, subscribe to this channel, and thanks for supporting us.